oftentimes you go on Twitter and, I'm just going to be, pretty objective here. You go on Twitter and you go on these platforms, you see like, you know, operators, like everything's great, everything's amazing, but we're all in this. We're all seeing the slowdown. We're all feeling it, right? So it's oftentimes very hard, and it could be, you could think, oh shit, it's working for everyone else, it's just not working for me, but that's not the case. It's like, you know, and that's why sometimes it's good to like take a step back from these platforms and understand that, everyone is projecting. That's all we're all doing, just projecting. And if it's not working for you, you're not the only one. It's normal.
Welcome back, folks, to your favorite D2C podcast. I have two of my favorites definitely on the pod, and honestly, probably the best drip of a website. I mean, the branding you guys have, Maddie, is just chef's kiss. But we have Maddie and Paul from Groupshop. How are you guys doing today?
Doing good.
Life is good, man.
Appreciate it. Shout out to Nell. She did all the branding design.
That's so good.
Funny thing about Nell, oftentimes people go on our website and then like, who did it? Can you make an intro? I'm like, nah.
No, I cannot.
I'm like, nah.
No, I cannot. If you actually, shameless plug here, if you want to hear actually all about Maddie's cool story, he has an incredible one. We actually you were on ROAS. I think you're the first double guest actually as well. You're the first double guest, first quad pod. You guys are breaking all the rules here today. I love it. Man. I love it. And speaking of a rule breaker, my man with the plan, who is not an Avi swag. Shout out Parker. Will you sponsor an event, Parker? Like, let's go. I'll wear a Parker shirt too. I'm in the triple swag, and you didn't even do the no Avi swag. Amazing. But my wonderful PIC, the wonderful, the incredible, the always lined up Ash Milwani. Thank you for joining us, my friend.
Always.
Okay, let's jump in, Maddie and Paul, or whoever wants to give the elevator pitch, because you guys have a really cool product that I'm trying to get more eyes to, because I think it's an incredible service that more and more people can use, especially as Adspend starts to really, it's harder to be more impactful for your ad spend. So how can you get more dollars out of your ecosystem, and how can you make your ecosystem more impactful, especially by empowering your evangelists? So with that teed up, Maddie or Paul, whoever wants to jump in, let's give me the Groupshop elevator pitch, kind of what you guys do, and we can kind of start to go from there.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take it and I'll let Paul follow on. But with Groupshop, essentially what we do is we try to turn your customers into partners. And what that means is we incentivize them to share the products that they've purchased from your brand with their network and their community and their friends and their families and followers, so on and so on. And we do that by creating a post-purchase store for them with one click, where they're able to now take that and go in there and essentially act as growth marketers for your brand. And, oftentimes brands would like look for their influencers within like, TikTok, Instagram, but we believe the best influencers are your own customers.
I love that. It's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, Paul, you want to jump in
here?
Yeah,
no, I'll just add an example there. I was talking to a brand, I've been talking to them for a while now, but they probably do like low 8 figures. And one of the stories he told me that sort of like lit up what's possible with something like this. And what Maddie and I always talk about is everyone is a creator. Everyone is an influencer on the internet, and TikTok has made that possible, right? Where you see 1,000 views, 1,000 views, 1,000 views, 10 million views, so anything is, is capable of popping off at any time based on, the hook, the algorithm, all that, those sort of different things. But so one of the things, when I talked to this brand, he was like, yeah, this lady randomly just made a video about, our product, and it was targeted towards moms, and it was like the perfect video. And, this was not, someone who lived in like New York or LA. This was like a mom who was lower to middle income, who made this TikTok that went crazy viral. And I don't know, it generated at least 6 figures, maybe more than that. And, they started using that in their ads and, the hook and all that sort of stuff. And it's like, this is just from one customer who is sitting within their customer base. Right. And so that's the sort of thing that I know with Groupshop, we hope to capitalize on is the customers have a lot more influence than we know about. And as marketers, word of mouth is sort of like a shadow. Like we know it's there, but we just have no idea, like how big it is, how to define it, how to attribute it. So those are things with Group Shop that we're trying to do and help customers sort of, or help brands unlock their customer base and the people who really love them to actually share the brand.
That's incredible. Ash actually has a crazy story with the what was that Josh Durham pod, I think, where you had the gal with like 78 million followers just randomly post for you? Or do you want to for the people that didn't listen to the episode, give us that story again?
Yeah, so we had a I guess, a influencer slash Facebook page. She's a Midwestern mom. She basically tells her story on Facebook. She has a ton of engagement, ton of followers. And she underwent bariatric surgery. And the one thing that people need after that is a protein source, right? So I believe she saw an ad for us. She was like, all right, I got to try it. She bought, and one day she posted a video about us. And I think we like quadrupled sales for the day, and it was absolutely insane. And we had no idea where it was coming from. Because all the traffic sources were like Facebook, Instagram. It's like the ads aren't doing that great. Let's see like where this traffic is coming from. And we're seeing like people tag us in this video, and it's like this 25-minute long review, but like her community was super engaged. It like hit 1 million views in like 24 hours, and it was like absolutely insane. And so like that was the start of a pretty massive partnership between Avi and this influencer. And to the point where like like you just mentioned, this 125-minute ad was our longest running ad for 2 years, because it was just so powerful. And you can't discount this, because like, one, you don't know who your customers are. Like, all if you have volume going on, you don't know who has some type of influence. So kind of incentivizing them to post or do something with the product to get it out there is so crucial, which is why I think you guys have kind of found a solution for that, right?
Yeah, no, I think my two takeaways from there are, one, the Midwestern moms.
Yeah.
Game changers.
Game changing.
And two, like, it's especially like in today's day where, like, that Facebook slot machine is just not working as well as it did previously. You now have to find these blended approaches to, like, grow. And something like Group Shop, like, it's not going to make up 90% of your revenue, right? But, like, it's a nice little chunk in there as part of your stack to kind of help bring in, some of that, long tail revenue for you as you continue to grow and build community and things like that. But yeah, no, that's a wild story. I'm gonna go back now and look at that ad. Like,
you have to. You have to.
I gotta see this.
Well, I think it helps too that, Ash, I mean, you guys got a great product, right? And that's part of the reason why you guys are building, such a big community, right? Is the, and that's one thing we talk about is we don't create word of mouth. Like, we're not capable of doing that. There already has to be some sort of built-in word of mouth. And then from there, it's about how do you amplify that? And obviously for you guys, like, it's not easy, but if you've done sort of the front end of the work, it makes the back end so much easier, to where there should be network effects for brands that are really focused on the product, the branding, the consumer experience. And those are the brands that will capitalize, I think, sort of over the next 5 years, as e-com sort of shifts from being total paid versus like very omni-channel kind of deal.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think you hit the head on the nail with that. It's like, or hit the nail on the head with that. Basically, our packaging, right?
You wear some Parker swag, and then everything just gets discombobulated. I mean, I'm telling you here. I'm telling you. He's always comes with heat, and then no Avi gear, and now you're getting C Squad Ash. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Let the man work. Let him cook.
I had okay, ready? Think of it this way, right? Packaging, massive appeal, the bright pink, everything that we did at Avi was like, this is going to be scroll stomping on Instagram, Facebook. Walking down the aisle, you're going to catch, it's going to catch your eye, right?
Yep.
You want to post this on social, right? It's like, as soon as you get it on your house, like at home, and you put it on the, on the countertop, and you want to take a picture, it's like, that's your word of mouth right there, right?
Yeah.
The second part of it is, which we haven't done on a larger scale, which is the, I guess, the shipping envelopes and boxes that the product comes in, right? When we send out, I guess, PR packages and influencers packages, they're sent in these bright pink envelopes. They're sent in these bright pink boxes. It's great for the content that the influencers are going to create, but why not do it for the consumers, right?
Yeah.
Obviously the major reason is that it's expensive,
Yeah.
but it ends up becoming an extension of your organic social, because there's probably going to be more people who opt into sharing their experience on social, right? Like, how often are you getting a pretty little pink box in the mail? You're going to want to document that entire thing. You want to take a picture. You want to send it to your friends, right? So that is where I think we have to up our game on that level of word of mouth. Just because like that experience post-purchase needs to be dialed in, right? Flavors and everything, packaging is there. Once you try it, you love it. But what about that like little bit in between where, you're excited about getting a package, and sometimes you want to toss it up on Instagram stories, you want to toss it up on Snapchat, or send a picture to your your group chat, whatever it is, right? So I think that's two things where I think we could probably be better at. And I think you have to stop thinking about the cost too, because it's free marketing, right? At the end of the day.
No, I think you hit, as you say, you hit the nail on the hammer. What do you say? But no,
the head on the nail.
No, that's a great point you bring up. And I think that's like an investment in brand, right? Because I mean, the way I look at it and the way I think about it, in America, we have what, 300, 400 million people. And that's about, let's say that's about 200 to 300 smartphone cameras that people walk around with. And people want to create content. People want to post content. People want to share things, right? Like people, like we are very social beings, and people every day you want to be the person who has the best, post on social with the most views, because that's that dopamine we get from it. So I think people want to share your product. I think if most brands had that outlook, then they'll probably invest more into that post-purchase experience, that post-purchase journey, and more into like just the brand, the packaging, things that you mentioned. But of course, you can't, if you don't have a great product. You guys have a great product, so you should definitely invest more into it, and we can definitely, with Groupshop, can help you out with that. But if you don't have a great product, then it doesn't really, make sense.
Yeah. And actually, I have one amazing example of this. So I'm in the middle of a move right now, and I was packing up like our coffee and tea in some FabFitFun boxes that my wife had. And so I like wrote, tea/coffee on it. And so I bring those over, and she's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Moving. I'm saving the day. I'm the best husband. I don't know. What am I?" And then she's like, "Why'd you write on my boxes?" I was like, "Dude, they're boxes." And like it made me think like I wasn't even, I was like, "Oh, I got it." Like, but that's how, like, for her, she's like, "Oh, I give those boxes like when I give gifts, right?" So it's something that really does like have an impact. And again, it's like a shadow, right? Like Ash, you're not going to be able to see every single time a person does that, right? But it's like once you have that one person who it hits, or someone do something and you see it, you're like, "Oh, like I totally get it." And for me, that was kind of that moment where, like, obviously we know performance marketing is like a huge deal, right? But there's some things like performance marketing will never be able to do, and that is like the social component of how people share things with one another, and how things as obsolete as a cardboard box like make people feel, right?
Yeah, no. Go ahead.
So so on point with there. So much to unpack there. The way I think of performance marketing is it gets you to the party, but you're not going to like, performance marketing doesn't make you have fun at the party. Like the product does, the brand does, the experience does. Like that's where like you need to be. And so it's funny that so I have tons of episodes of I didn't know I can get in trouble for as well. Like I put the wrong song on an Instagram post that I got yelled at for. So I can totally empathize with you there, Paul, with writing on the wrong box. But so I have this super like weird, and this is kind of, I think, what Steve Jobs wanted, where he thought of like almost everything calf to cow with the unboxing experience. Like when you actually open up that iPhone, that like actual friction is made there as not a bug, but a feature, where it's like almost this reveal time, where it's like, it's almost like, the smell, everything. He was involved in everything. And so I have like so many Apple product boxes that I like. So I just recently moved as well, Paul, and I had the hardest time throwing them away. This is like Apple Watch box, AirPod boxes, MacBook box. Like I'm not going to sell this. I have seen in
years either.
In years, dude. And like I'm not going to use this for anything. And I was just like, I had such a hard time throwing it away. Lulu bags, like my fiance, like Lulu bags never get thrown away. Aloes, like another fancy yoga thing where they give you like these, it's almost like a tote. Like they're, yeah, you see, you know what I'm talking about, Maddie? They're like really saying, right? The tie dye. Yeah, and so like she will never throw any of those out. So I think there's just such an interesting, I think as paid media marketers, you can get really myopic on the acquisition part of the relationship, whereas there's not as much, but there's definitely, especially as you get a certain scale, it can be really fruitful to concentrate on that post-purchase and empowering your evangelists with a really easy path to profitability for you as a business. And I think that's what you guys do really well. I think doing stuff on boxes, so like on packages, you can do some cool stuff, where I know people that do cool stuff on QR codes and stuff like that, where you can get people into your communities and stuff like that. But that's kind of my little rant there, was that there's just there's so much experience, and honestly, like people get like memory burn from emotion, right? Whether it be positive or negative. And so if you can make that memory burn and you can make that person feel successful, and you can, like, I always had this theory that barbershops shouldn't charge in dollars. They should charge in compliments. Because when you get a haircut, you want somebody to be like, hey, dang, Maddie, you looking tight, high and tight. That looks great. And so, like, do you want a 1 compliment haircut? You want a 2 compliment haircut? You want a 3 compliment haircut? And that is really the job to be done when you get a haircut. You want to feel good about yourself, and you want somebody to notice and say, hey, oh, Ash, you're looking fresh today. And so I think that that's kind of that can kind of get lost in the sauce when you think of acquisition, because acquisition is just a whole nother beast. Again, it's getting that person to the party, but the post-purchase, the branding, the customer experience, those things are making people enjoy the party. And so that's kind of just my little rant.
It's kind of like art versus science a little bit, you know?
Yep.
And a lot of brands like often like, you know, leverage the science part because that's quantifiable. It's easy to understand the return on. It's easy to see how 1 + 1 = 2. And then the art side of it is like where you're able to build like a true fandom, a true, like, you know, community, right? And so I think, you know, it's an equal marriage.
Yep.
But most brands like don't value it as such. Ash, I think you had something to chime in on.
Yeah, no, I think there's a couple of things that brands could and should do that kind of hits both sides of it, right? So like the performance marketing as well as the post-purchase experience, word of mouth. I think Athletic Greens does a great job of it, right? They give you the bottle with every order, the shaker, right? Now you're taking that to the gym, you're taking that to work, you're taking it wherever, and it's just gonna be there, right? So, I mean, we try to do the same thing, right, with the shaker cups. So any order on, at least on like top of the funnel, where it's like, one, it's improving conversion rate, right? Because it's like, oh, it's added value. It's a $15 shaker, when in reality it costs, you know, nothing for us. And then, you know, that's the one thing that people are going to bring around with them, right? On the way to work, the gym, wherever they are, right? So like 2 sides to it, picking those things where it's like you can help conversion rate and like offer value up front, but then like you're getting that value back at the end of it when they're like literally taking it everywhere, you know?
Yeah. Quick question. What are some examples of brands that we just mentioned Athletic Greens and of course, V, but what are some other brands that you all like, you know, consume on a daily, weekly, monthly basis that you think do this really well? Maybe community, maybe like, you know, swag or other things that keep you like engaged and coming back.
Oh, I love this question. Let's start with you, Paul. We'll go to Ash. We'll go to Maddie, and then I'll go last.
Nah, Rama. You know, who that made you mayor of picking the order of things?
It's the screen. It's the screen. It's how you guys are tiled
I'll
up.
go last. I'll wait for you guys to answer all, and then I'll pick.
Okay. We'll go Paul, Ash, Raba, Maddie.
Shoot, I'll be honest, man. I'm not the biggest, like, I don't consume a ton of D2C sort of e-com kind of stuff. I'm like an old man, basically. Like, I don't even know the internet exists. Like, I like to actually go to the grocery store. I like to go to like Target or Marshalls or TJ Maxx. You know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty low key, so I don't have a ton of, you know, this company does a great job or this company does a great job. Mostly it's through my wife, who's much more in that sort of stuff. So like I'll say for me personally, like I see FabFitFun, like like that is a brand to me where you can tell they have a really, really good community around that, and it's through every part of the experience, right? So I would say that's probably the one I can think of.
Amazing.
I think a good one is Truff hot sauce, right?
Ooh,
They're
I just
Austin.
tried it recently.
Yeah,
Phenomenal.
The
Yeah.
I thought
brothers
it was
are
like, at
loaded.
first it's like $20 hot sauce. I was like, I can get this for like $6. What's going on? It's really good.
Right?
Really tastes
Right?
good.
So imagine you're ordering this,
loaded.
right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
I think they landed that
Yeah.
feeling that Apple gives you, right? That unboxing, like it doesn't just come like you order it. It doesn't just come in like a envelope, like the bottle. It comes in that nice box. You like kind of you reveal it, like you
Oh,
mentioned
so
the Apple
nice.
thing, and you're like, wait, this is totally worth $20. And then the bottle itself is like, it feels nice. It's like high quality. The lid itself is like the shape of a truffle. So it's like that whole experience is insane. And it's something that you want to keep out, right? Like on my counter, I think the only couple things that I really keep out are like probably like olive oil and like truff. Cause like it looks sick, you know? So I think
Very
it just
flexy.
like, it's one of those things, you know what I mean? So like when somebody comes over, it's like, oh, you have truff.
Very
It's like,
flexy.
I do. Would you like some? So yeah, I think truff does a great job there.
Yeah, they're very flexy. I think it's really, really good. I am a big fan of obviously Liquid Death. Not a like I'm just huge brand crush on Liquid Death. Like you're selling water. You're selling water. Like what product differentiation do you have with water? And like I absolutely love it. I've spent more money on merch than I have in their actual core product. Like I was this close to buying a vending machine from them. Like and this is like $6,000.
Dude, Raba, I've like, I was literally talking about this like 3 days ago with like 10 people. I was like, yo, who wants to go in on this with me? I don't know if I can go there and fill up the soda every day. But here's the thing about the Liquid Death vending machines is they don't have credit card processors.
That's the one I
So
didn't
people have
get.
to
They're
carry.
sold out. They're sold out.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like if I want to put it at Ohio State University, I got to expect these kids to carry cash.
Ain't gonna happen.
That's not
No.
going to happen. So,
No.
but other than that, yeah, you're, the Liquid Death thing, man, we might have to go in on that because you got UT, I got Ohio State. Like, might have to be a little side hustle there.
The irony is I was going to buy it for the office, and then I got into like a little acquisition mode of like, maybe I could buy up some businesses, and I was going to buy a vending machine route and then have it in like the affluent area. Anyways, we're in the weeds now. Liquid Death is amazing, really great branding, really great, just everything across the board. And it's so authentic. And so I think this is something that people shy away from a little bit because it can be off-putting to certain people out of your market. But man, I love them. I absolutely love them. I think they do a sensational job. Huron does some really cool stuff. They're like a men's care. Who else do I use? I did do some Athletic Greens. I thought the experience was sensational. No shade towards Athletic Greens, but it was just like, it was expensive and a lot.
Expensive, yeah, it's pricey.
Yeah, and I didn't really feel that much, but it was great. Cometeer, again, not throwing shade, not the greatest coffee, but really cool experience. Like they send it to these boxes and stuff like that. It's actually a really cool experience. I really enjoyed Cometeer. What else? Those are kind of my.
Cometeer
They
has a
have a
cult.
cult.
I'm not a
Has a
coffee
cult.
guy, but like I'm like, what's the hype about this?
Again, I don't want to throw shade, so it's not great,
That's
but
right. Positivity
it's a
only.
really cool positivity bubble only. We did a bunch of stuff with them with DDC After Dark and Olipop. I've actually been becoming an Olipop stan. Again, it's not like this crazy unboxing thing, but it's really cool. They actually had a really cool in Columbus, going back to your kind of brand awareness stuff, Maddie, of like, it's hard to put on a spreadsheet, but it actually is impactful, where you could go try like different flavors, all these things. It's really cool setup, like a pop-up store essentially.
Yeah.
It was really cool. Who else do I got? These guys are actually great. This is Range Leather from Tim. I've gotten a wallet and a hat, and it's a really cool unboxing. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I totally buried the lead. Marcus, I don't know if you guys know Minted New York, but he only does drops, but he has some of the
I think I've
best
seen
gears.
posts about him.
Yeah, he has some of the best gear. He does a bunch of things. He has like pre-workout. He has like cool gold chains, but his hoodies are just second to none. And every part of the experience is amazing. And then I think the last one I'll round out with, I know I gave you guys a smorgasbord, was Vacation Inc. So they're like a
Skin
subsidiary. Yeah, of
Yeah.
Pool Suite FM. So I don't know if you guys are hip to Pool Suite FM, but I'm like a huge 80s stan. And so they just made everything from calf to cow in terms of branding super 80s. So even as far as the receipt that you get is on the perforated printer paper. You remember the
Oh,
OG
wow.
printers that had the like tracks that you put these printers on?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
everything is super thought out. So honestly, like Vacation Ink and Liquid Death are probably my two in terms of like branding, experiencing, messaging, post-purchase, pre-purchase, just everything. I think those are two of the best D2C. I mean, Liquid Death is a little bit more retail / D2C, but Vacation Ink for sure is it's really up there. Like if you guys go to either Vacation Ink or poolsuite.fm, it is so cool. It is my favorite. And then I turn it over to you, Maddie.
All right. Say the best for last, right? First and foremost, I mean, we need to figure out how much Triple Well is paying Rabo, because that's a lot of shit. First, I hope the government isn't listening.
Lighten up that Brex card, baby. Lighten up that Brex. Carry the one. What's going on here?
Yeah, no, so like for me, I think so Beats by Dre, before they got acquired by Apple, I think
Yep.
they did a great job of like
They did.
unboxing, packaging. A lot of electronics companies like Sony, you know, Apple, of course, like even Samsung, if you have like a TV, like that unboxing, like, you know, experiences just, and luxury brands, right? My girlfriend got me like a wallet from Saint Laurent, like maybe for my birthday last year, and even like the way it came was like in a bowl. Like I was like, oh shit, like this is some top quality shit. And it couldn't be, I mean, it could be like, you know, just basic letter, but the way they presented it was like, you know, world class. But the reason why I wanted to go last is because, like, you know, this kind of ties back into Groupshop and what we do. Is like, you know, we all had these amazing experiences with all these brands, right? However, like, you know, outside of the unboxing, there's nothing really that's like really kind of incentivizing us to go out here and share these experiences, right? Like, you know, Robert, for example, was sitting on like, you know, a couple $1,000 of like incentives.
Bands
right
on bands. Let's go.
Exactly, right? So we as we buy these things, right, and we experience these products, right, and we, you know, we quickly forget about it and we move on to the next thing and we go on with life, like, you know, and that's where like a product like Groupshop kicks in, because now the incentive is like, okay, you have this great unboxing experience, you seem to love and use this product. Guess what? You have a store, and if you're able to, like, if you want to go share with your friends, sure, you know, they come in and shop with you. And Paul actually could touch on this. We actually see a lot of people go back and make repeat purchases within like hours of making the original purchase. And I'm not talking about like an upsell, but actually like going in there and buying like, you know, 3, 4, 5 other items within like 2 or 3 hours of making the original purchase. And like, you know, and these are opportunities that brands can give customers to kind of zone in on, you know, that wonderful experience they're actually building, right? Because just building an experience alone is not enough. You actually now need to capture it, have them engage with it, and then attribute it into a sale, a share, a repeat purchase, whatever the case may be. But kind of like, you know, that's kind of how we see ourselves fitting within the stack. Just to tie it all back in.
It's amazing, man.
Oh, am I supposed to go?
No,
Yeah,
no.
you're-
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like you crushed it. I got nothing to say on that.
Even though Maddie had the question and he didn't even answer with the D2C, he had to go flexi. And you're telling me I'm making too much money. You're over here with Eve's leather. Come on. Unbelievable, this guy.
Well, I thought you were gonna say. I thought you dropped the ball. I thought you were gonna say some Nike, some Jordans, is like some SVs. You know, I thought I kind of laid it up for you. But
that's not for D2C. Sure. So that it's not D2C. And to be fair, though, there is some interesting things. So going on a little psychological tangent, I believe people buy things in their mind before they actually buy. And so what I think can happen is you need to find the story that they can tell themselves, because I think people buy on a non-regret strategy or no regret strategy. So people would much rather not make a purchase than make a bad purchase. And so that bad purchase can then get covered up by this really crazy story that they tell themselves that might not even be true, but at least there's some coherent. So there's a whole little homunculus theory of, anyways, you can go into some brain theory stuff about a homunculus, but the too long didn't read is that's what I think we need to do as marketers. And that's why I think Groupshop's so powerful, is that people have to know you, like you, trust you. And you usually know, like, and trust your friends or people in your network. And so not saying that you guys can't get second, third order connections, but like just the first order connections that you can get from people is just huge. Like when I forget what was the water bottle, Ash, that you got me in on, or whatever, the fancy water bottle that dropped. It's like an $80 water bottle. But like Sharma got it, Ash got it, then Ash's CEO Ron got it. I was like, dude, let me get it. Ash sent me the link. I sent this guy $80. I still haven't got the water bottle, but hey, it's a cool water bottle. I got in on it. But like, I know you, like, you trust you. And like these guys, I know them, like them, trust them. And I was like, hey, I want in on this too. So I think that's something that is really interesting, where you guys are so psychologically advantaged in terms of what you're doing, and the friction that you pull out of the system that you can then transform into actual monetary value or brand awareness is something that is pretty remarkable.
Man.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Paul.
Oh, I was going to say, I think on that point, and sort of how we, break it down in our minds, Rob, is like referral marketing, give 20, get 20. It's very transactional, right? You put in their email address. And I think ultimately, as sort of we've talked about, it's so much more than a transactional process of sharing something, right? There's a social element to it that I think is really required to have something like that work, especially because it is, on a friend-to-friend basis, right? And so I think that's where, our product is centered, is how do we combine the transactional upside of it, right? To where if I share something, with Raba, like, yeah, I want to get paid on that, right? But also the social element of like, oh, I feel like this is like actually coming from me, right? Even though I'm not making the product, I'm not shipping the product, I'm not fulfilling the product, but it's from me, right? And there's that sort of personalized experience. So that's kind of what we're doing. And I think even just the act of sharing something, so much of it has to do with trust, right? And so that's like at the beginning of everything we do. And even for you, Ash, like I remember, for an ecom brand I own, like I was studying Avi because I was like, yo, let me like see like this social proof you guys have, right? And the trust that everything is like built towards, how do we just have trust, right? And I think that's such a key part of getting people to buy in and not only convert, but also to go from there and start sharing, knowing, okay, this worked for this person, this worked for this person, this is how it's going to work. I already go in thinking this is probably going to work for me, and then when it does, it's like a magic moment. And so I think that's where like trust is everything in terms of building a brand and even seeing people start sharing stuff.
Yeah, and just to add to that, Paul, like I believe that social capital is the most expensive thing on the internet. Like trying to get someone to share something is almost impossible. We're like, we're kind of naive to it because we see memes and things get shared all around. But if you really think about like the actual like execution behind trying to get someone to share something like that is not viral, and trying to get some, like we're in tech, we've all tried to make things go viral, and like it's extremely difficult, right? And so once you really zone in on it, like social capital and trying to get people and trying to get that buy-in is like so invaluable. Like it's just a game changer if you're able to capture it and productize it.
Yeah, and I'll pump you guys up a little more, and then we'll stop the grab assing. But the
I love the grab assing, Robert.
But also the timing of where you guys are at too in the actual sales cycle is so prescient, where it's like you're all hot and bothered, and you can do it right then and there, which is so important. Where it's like, because to Paul's point of like, I don't think I've ever sent out an affiliate link. I don't know. Like, it just feels weird. Like I'm like, dude, I have so many people that have signed up for an Amex, and it's like I could have gotten these points and stuff like that. But it's just there's this theory that there's kind of two relationships, right? There's like actual relationships, and then there's transactional relationships. So there's relationships that are built on things that are non-monetary, and then there's relationships that are built on monetary. And an easy thought experiment for this is like when you ask your friends to help you move. Like, ooh, Ash makes good money. If I was like, hey, Ash, can you help me move for $100? He'd be like, what the no, I'm not going to. But if I'm like, hey, Ash, can you help me move? And I'll buy you some beer, or like I'll buy you some dinner or something that's not linked in this transactional. Because once you start putting monetary value, yeah. I send this guy so much triple swag, and he's just unbelievable. I hope he's getting a penny. I hope you're getting the bag.
Every pod.
I wore it 2 pods ago. Come on, man. Come on.
Fair play. But I think that there's a certain aspect of like staying out of that transactional realm, and you're just like people helping people is a really powerful thing. And then people aren't doing these weird kind of mechanical type of addition, subtraction in their head to make sure, like, is this a good deal? Is this a bad deal for me? It's like, no, I'm just helping the homie out.
Yeah, no, that's solid. Yeah, no, great
I
points
think
all
one of
around.
the
I actually referenced that exact. Oh, sorry, Ash, real quick. I referenced that exact study like last week,
See?
Lava, because my wife was like, "Should we pay our friends who like helped us out?" I was like, "No, it's not going to be
Yeah.
enough. Let's give them pizza and beer because I think maybe that's from Nudge or Freakonomics or something
Yeah.
like that, right?" But that's so funny. Sorry, Ash, go ahead.
Yeah, no. So I think you mentioned, right, Maddie. It's like it's very difficult to get somebody to share something like transactional, or even if it's like your link for get 15, give 15, right? The biggest thing that we found within our community, right? So like the last couple of product launches, me and Ron go live in the community, and we kind of hype it up in the week, like, hey, something big is coming, join the live, and it's like this FOMO if you like don't get into this premiere, right? So what we end up doing is that during this like live, we have so many of our like core customers like tuned in, like we have all their attention on, all right, what's coming, what's coming. In that moment, we obviously like announce what's coming, but then instantly it's like, oh, I'm so excited about this. And then right after it's like, hey, share this video and we'll send like 5 people the product a week before it comes out, right? And you should see the number of shares that just come in, and it's like you get them at that moment where it's like, oh, I'm so excited about this. 2, wait, I want to try this a week before. And then 3, they're like sharing it to their network. And like it's this whole video. And imagine you're watching this video of some brand that you've never seen, and like people are just going crazy about it. Like that is where I feel like you have to get that person at that right moment where they're like like excited about it, or especially like post purchase, like they're excited about their order. You kind of communicate to them like, hey, your order's on its way. Oh, by the way, like try and get them to do something right there and then, right?
Yeah,
So that's kind of like the example I like to give with the community, because it's like that organic reach is massive, because like you can have like 1,000 shares from like one video, and it's like you're introducing people into the ecosystem. And the thing is that it actually works, because imagine like our top of the funnel strategy, right? It's like ads, this and that. But when we have that post-purchase survey set up, and there's a answer that says the first place that you heard of Avi was because of the community, we know this is working because people are entering the community without even like coming to the brand first. And like
wow,
they're seeing
That's
this
cool.
massive community and then buying. So I think it's a great point where it's like you just have to hit that person at the right time where
yeah,
they're like the excitement is at like its peak, and then you can almost get them to do anything.
yeah. No, that's a great point. Oh, the tool like Triple Well, then you now able to attribute everything and
Got him.
yeah, it can make it all make sense, when it's time to crunch the numbers. So like, I mean, if you're able to execute on the strategy well, it should be a well oiled funnel.
Yep, I agree.
Uh,
And Ash, I got a question for you.
no, go ahead,
Of
Paul.
course.
Sorry, real quick. So for you guys, when you guys were building out Avi, right? I mean, I think there's I'll say a lot of brands in ecom go and they're like, oh, we're just going to be performance marketers, right? I would say there's not a ton of companies, right? And the ones who are doing it well are killing it. Sort of what I guess gave you the insight, or I guess the sort of inclination to be like, this can't just be about the actual performance. Like, obviously, that's part of it, right? But it's actually going to be like largely based on community. Because I think prior to sort of the iOS sort of changes, right? Like, people were just like, dude, I'm just gonna put in $1 and get like 3 or 4 back. Like, I don't care about any of that. But you guys have been doing this longer than before iOS. So I don't know, did you guys anticipate something
Mhm.
like that sort of happening? Or were you just like, hey, like we're trying to build an actual like
Yeah.
brand, like an Apple or Liquid Death? Or what was sort of your guys' thought on that?
Yeah, I mean, it really comes down to like the complexity of the product, and I think that's like we want to be able to teach people like, hey, this is something that the idea of collagen was like, I'm not really going to take this until I'm older, right? And when you're starting to kind of attract that younger demographic, you want to teach them and have them like understand like, okay, I need to be taking this every single day. And we wanted a place where like we can actually communicate with customers outside of just email, SMS, which is not as like like obviously you can personalize email and SMS, but it's not like you're talking to the founders or owners or exactly. It's very one-sided, right? So like being able to create the community where like we can give each other feedback, like I can give you feedback on the product, you give me feedback on the product, like you in turn will be so excited at the fact that like, hey, and I don't know, I'm assuming maybe some of the community members are like, oh, I love being able to talk to the owners of the brand that I take, and like that just instantly, like LTV, like everything on that end is all great, but like that moment that you can like actually communicate and express how you're feeling about, maybe it's good or bad, that is what we wanted, because that is probably the reason people are going to come back, outside of like, all right, does the product taste good, does it work, right? Because like there's a dime a dozen collagen brands that also do the same thing. They may or may not taste as good as ours, but the fact that you build this relationship, it solidifies the fact that like, all right, Avi's my brand that I'm going to go to.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think clearly you guys are crushing it on that aspect, because you guys do have that feedback, right? Which I know you guys introduce new flavors all the time. It's also like, they're not D2C, but Crumble is like sweeping up. Like people are getting cookies every day. Like people are sharing that all the time. And I feel like, it's not obviously what you guys are doing, but it's sort of in a similar lane of like, there's plenty of companies that sell cookies, but it's like, it's the design, it's the packaging, it's the community, all that sort of stuff.
Speaking of cookies and experiences, have you guys tried the Last Crumb?
I was just gonna.
I love them. I love them.
I saw it in your face.
Maddie he's always on the rich people stuff.
Yeah, he is.
Impeccable. Like, to be fair though, like I hate buying. So I don't mind buying expensive things. I hate buying overpriced stuff. And Last Crumb is expensive, not overpriced. Like the experience, the branding, talk about unboxing and stuff. The drop model, I think, is a horrible economic model, but like the excitement, it took me like 3 or 4 drops to actually get into the cookies. And so they send you that text out, and then like, oh dang, I'm gonna grab it, and and you're like scrambling to give them $130 or $40 for 12 cookies. It's crazy, but it is impeccable. The product's great. It's nuts. Yeah, the economics are just nuts, but it is incredible. It's your neck of the woods. I believe it's LA. They're phenomenal. LA, yeah. They're phenomenal. Everything is totally worth it. I think the problem that they get into, or for me, the problem with cookies is it's hard to, unless you hit the gifting vector hard, it's hard to get people to buy them all the time, because like I'm fat as shit now. And so I'm trying to like get healthier in my life, and I'm trying to find vectors that like, and so you can't just buy $140 cookies, but it's an absolute experience. It's like 6th Street on Halloween, or just, it's an experience. It's definitely, if you have the economics to do it and you get in on the drop, it's fantastic. But I think it'd make a great gift too, like to have some Last Crumb show up at your house. Like it really is a presentation of the ages. Like everything is thought out. Everything is like thick paper. The box is incredible. It's luxury too. It's like the Eve's kind of unboxing that you're talking about is kind of that same thing of like, or if you ever bought something from like Gucci or some sort of high-end designer, like everything is just really super, super mint. It's Last Crumb's amazing. It's a really, it's a cool, I don't know how they make money, but it's a cool, very, very cool, very cool model, very cool thing. But I'm a bit anti-drop model, just because like you kind of stem your demand. So you're just like, and it's very inefficient in terms of economics, because you're just by definition generating more demand than supply. And so it gets into kind of weird there, but it's a really great call out. It's I should have said that for my D2C brand. It's really cool. It's a very great unboxing.
Oh, you want to go half on a box?
Yeah, exactly. Take out the mortgage.
Put that on Rava's.
Throw it on the Brex, baby. Let's go. Let's go, kids. Let's go.
Look what you started, Rava.
I know. We're kind of bumping them against it, but I want to, before we get to the creepy question and then we have a Q&A, I want to hear your thoughts. We'll start with you, Maddie. We'll go to you, Paul, and then Ash closing out. What do you guys kind of see happening in the next kind of 6-12 months? There's a little bit of sketchiness, and we're about to get into the kind of the money months. We're getting out of the summer months where Europe's on vacay. The States is kind of coming back to life again. What do you see happening? Do you see any shifts in ad spend? Do you see any shifts in strategy in terms of acquisition? Should people be leaning more into word of mouth stuff? Let's start with you, Maddie, and then Paul. I want to hear
Yeah.
your thoughts, and then we'll close with you, Ash.
Well, I think people should always be leaning into word of mouth because I mean that's always there. It's free, like,
Yep.
you know. But I think we're gonna have record, Q4. I mean, we
Ooh,
always seem to have
optimism.
record Q4. Have you guys ever heard of sales were down this Black Friday? Like I've been alive 31 years now, and always seems to be like bigger and better every single year. So I think brands are gonna come out and say that. Is it true? I'm not necessarily sure. I do believe that also we're going to see a lot of brands shut down in the next 12 to 18 months, and that's the unfortunate nature of these things because when you have like a bull market and you have cheap capital, like people tend to get drunk and
100%.
they're forced to get sober, and when you get sober you realize that you're not running a business, you're actually running a money fire pit.
Incinerator. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
you gotta get out of it. So those are my two predictions as far as ad spend and things of that nature. Like, I mean, it's kind of hard to give broad advice on that. The consumer is gonna be soft. Like, we're going into a recession. Although Biden said we're not in a recession, so I don't know what's going on in the world. But so of course, people are not gonna want to spend more money. But then if you find like arbitrages and you find different channels that are working, it's business 101. It's not marketing, it's business. Find the channels that work and double and triple down on
Yep.
them. My take.
Yeah. I'm a little less optimistic than Maddie, especially on Q4 kind of stuff. I think when you have sort of, the economy's obviously been getting slower and slower and slower, and interest rates and all that sort of stuff. But I think there's always sort of a gap. Things don't just always just like fall off a cliff sometimes, right? People are digging into their savings. Like, we're seeing record high credit card debt and auto debt and all that sort of stuff. So I think, unfortunately, it's going to get worse before it
Okay.
gets better. And so, really what we're going to see is companies really, focus on getting lean, on getting profitable. And that's going to be the focus. And that's where, for us, like, we're saying, hey, like, you pay your customers when they refer someone to you, right? You're not gonna have to pay as much as Facebook or Google, and it's not going to be as volatile as far as, today you have a good day, today you have a bad day. You always win because you're only paying them upon conversion, right? So I think word of mouth is a low hanging fruit for the brands who have done the work. And Group Shop, those are the brands that we're targeting, that we want to work with, right? But I think overall, I see things slowing down a little bit.
Ash, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think I even mentioned this on the last pod too. I think we've noticed this like steady decline in like AOV, no matter how good the deals can be. I think people are just spending less of their hard-earned dollars. So I think what we're going to lean into is, just that, right? We're going to try and do a little bit more of like utilizing our samples, right? So just trying to get people into the ecosystem. Like, hey, you really want to try this, but you don't want to spend $40 on a full-blown tub when you don't know if you're going to like it, right? So instead of 40, how about 12, and you get a free shaker cup, 4 sample packs, $10 gift card to your next one. So like the value is there, right? So I think brands need to like offer as much value as they possibly and financially can to get people into their ecosystem, because people are going to be smarter with their money. They're not going to buy all 10 things that they see on their timeline. They're going to pick and choose, right? So I think that's where we as marketers have to get a little bit smarter on our offering. What was working maybe last year in terms of your offer, 20% off, free gift, whatever, may not work right now, right? And I think people are probably going to save their money for Q4, Black Friday. I mean, me myself, I'm moving, so I'm waiting for Black Friday to, dip into some, new furniture and this and that. So like that's just coming from myself, So I think we're all waiting for the sales and to see what the outlook looks, because right now it's okay, right? So I think people are going to start to slow down, and unfortunately brands may start to slow down. But if you can continue to, adapt, brands are going to be able to scale when others can't. So that's how I think about it.
I want to add one thing there, Ash, that you touched on, and it's like I really appreciate your honesty there, because oftentimes you go on Twitter and I'm just gonna be pretty objective here. You go on Twitter and you go on these platforms, you see you know operators, like everything's great, everything's amazing, but we're all in this. We're all seeing the slowdown. We're all feeling it, right? So it's oftentimes very hard, and it could be, you could think, oh shit, it's working for everyone else, it's just not working for me. But that's not the
Right.
case. Like, and that's why sometimes it's good to like take a step back from these platforms and understand that everyone is projecting. That's all we're all doing, just projecting. And if it's not working for you, you're not the only one. It's normal.
Everybody's good looks different to each other.
Exactly.
So
Keep that in mind. That's the best way of putting it. That's yeah. I need to get it tatted or something.
Look at that. That's a pretty good line. I actually like that. We're supposed to do Q&A, but basically Jess is just trolling us, so we'll save it for the next episode. Chew through data. We won't get into it. It's bait. Okay, I have a creepy question. I don't know if Paul's still with us, but we'll start with you. Oh, you're amazing. So we'll do Maddie, Paul, and then Ash. So we asked one creepy question at the end of the close. What was the last week's? Oh, what was the title of the autobiography? Ask Me Anything. It's so good. Yeah. It's so good. I still haven't came up with the bio. It's good, right? He's so good. He's exactly. Bar for bar. Stole my line. Okay, so the question for you, Maddie, and then we'll go Paul, and then we'll go Ash, is if you had a time machine, would you go back in time or into the future?
Oh, I'm going back in time. I'm like, yo, listen, we're buying Amazon.
Where are you going?
Stock, we buying Bitcoin. I'm going shit.
I think that's the only answer.
We're living different.
Oh, man.
It's not because I have regrets. It's because I have wisdom.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, so you're going back. What about you, Paul? Back or forward?
Man, that's so tough. I'm not in it for like the Back to the Future kind of stuff.
The sports almanac.
The Cubs are going to win the World Series kind of deal. Yeah. I think I'm just going to choose past as well, just because I find the past to be like so much more interesting potentially than the future, because you're seeing people like before we've been like brainwashed with like technology and social media, and we're just like seeing people like come home and like they have like, what are they going to do? Like, do you do puzzles all day? Do you like throw on the radio? Like, do you read the newspaper? Do you just write all day? Like, I just don't know what people did before like the internet, right? And so I'd like to live in a time where it's just like you just live off the land and like there's literally nothing to do except like nature and
Paul, you get bored. You be back
stuff
in the
like that.
Simple man, simple pleasure. You're gonna be
grabbing
for that iPhone so quick.
He'll be back. I give him 3 hours. He'll be back.
Oh yeah, no, I would be too. I want to see it.
That's interesting. So 2 backs. Don't tell me you're gonna go triple back.
No. I'll go. I'm gonna go hit. I'll hit the future. Obviously, the right answer is go in the past and buy a shit ton of Bitcoin, right? But like my answer is gonna have to be I'm gonna jump to the future, right? I'm super bullish on like what, and this is more just on a personal thing, right? I feel like everybody that's like kind of trying to adapt right now and like try to make it through this, I feel like people are getting through it, and I just want to fast forward to when everyone's like back to just like, all right, we're crushing, like we're on this right now. So I'm excited. Yeah, I'm just excited for everyone to just get back into that positive mindset of like, all right, well, where can we go from here, and like how do we just continue to grow? So enough of this.
How far?
I think a good decade might be nice. I think a decade. I think 5 years is too soon, but I think 10 years from now, it's a good enough time frame to see how like everything changed, right? Like, did TikTok overtake Facebook and Instagram? Did Facebook make its way back up? Like, are there other channels of marketing? I know we're on a marketing podcast, but like, are there newer ways to market to people? And how are people doing it? So I'm excited to see everybody's on Groupshop and Parker and Triple Whale.
Got all the plugs. This guy's a pro, kids. This guy's a pro.
Logos too.
Yeah, throw the logos in. Get the editor. Now I don't know. I think I do feel the sentiment of the past, but I actually went back to my old university. I hadn't been back in forever. Shout out IU, Indiana University. And this might be a hot take, but I think nostalgia is overrated. I think it's like when you've ever had like a bad relationship and then you kind of yearn for that person again. You only remember the
only
good, and you forget about and you forget about the bad. I don't know. I think for the most part, I want to go into the future. I want to see kind of. I think travel gets crazier. I think communications get better. I think, and again, there's a lot that could go wrong. I think tech can get crazy. I think medical could be crazier, where you can, have longer lives or more meaningful lives with people you care about, so your parents can live longer, or things of that nature. Where at the end of the day, like, I'm a huge capitalist, but I think this life's about building deep connections with humans you care about. And so I think that there's going to be things that can enable that more, but it could all go to shit too. So that's my optimism bubble, my positivity bubble. But so we have two futures. No, I had to make up for last week, right? I had to. Last week I got stuck. Prepped. I had to come back from last week.
I came back with bars. It came back.
I had to. Last week was a bit of a stumble, but yeah. So I don't know. I think that it'd be cool to do that. But Maddie, Paul, unfortunately, all good things have to come to an end, and this is the end of the episode. Maddie first, and then Paul. How can people connect with you? How can they get more involved in Groupshop? And then we'll go to you, Paul.
Before I get to that, I just want to, give you your roses while you can smell them, Rabba. You're one of the realest dudes in the whole ecosystem doing it. Like we've connected with a lot of people, done a lot of things with a lot of people, but you continue to be one of the realest, like just genuine, real people. Like, because a lot of people here just have like alternative motives. Like, there's a lot of, backdoor deals, things happening, but you're a real one. But, you can find us at Twitter, Groupshop it, and groupshop.com for our domain. And really just, reach out to us. We're all over. We're not hard to find. Paul,
you're on the Twitters, too. You're on the Twitters.
Oh, yeah. Maddie Socorro, Maddy Sukoru.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Go follow him. It's a fun follow.
Sometimes when I tweet.
Yeah, and for me, it's just pburke24, and like Maddie said, go to groupshop.com if you're interested. We're showing demos, onboarding companies where we think they can actually capitalize on their word of mouth, and but I definitely second what Rabba said, and this has been a lot of fun, guys, and great to meet you.
Guys.
This
pleasure. Absolute pleasure, guys.
All right, y'all.
Ash, you know what to do. Where's the where do people pitch. What do they do if they see if they give me the vitamin shot pitch? I love this. This is my favorite part of the show.
Yeah. If you need some collagen in your life, and you need some flavored collagen in your life, you gotta head out to Vitamin Shop. And if you have one nearby, go take a picture of it, send it to me, tweet it out, tag me. We'll definitely appreciate that. But you can find me on Twitter at AshramElwani. Mentor Pass if you need help with anything paid related. And if you're a UGC creator watching this, hit me in my DMs. We are always looking for more creators. And that's it for me.
Maddie, are you on Mentor Pass?
No, I am not on Mentor Pass.
Do you want to get on? Kids. Yeah. Oh, you want to get on? You'd be great.
Yeah.
I'll hook you up with Kenny. Kenny's a homie. He's a homie. You'd be great on Mentor Pass. It's awesome platform. I think people would learn a lot from you. Amazing. Awesome, guys. If you do want to get more involved with Triple Whale, we are at triplewhale.com. We are on the Bird app at Triple Whale. And then we have a wonderful newsletter that goes out every Tuesday, Thursday. Ash's essay actually was yesterday. Phenomenal writing, by the way. I forgot to give you your props there. Yeah. When are you going to give me an essay, Maddie? Come on. Get hip to the game, kid. Get hip to the game. Every Tuesday. Paul's the wordsmith. Let's go, kids. I have to tell you, Paul, I might steal this little hack. I don't know if you're seeing this, Ash, too, but the handle in the name field.
Yeah, I know.
That's a little big brain move. That's a big brain move. I don't. I'm not sleeping on you, Paul. I'm not sleeping on you. That's a move.
Wait, does it show in the actual video though? When we do post production? It does.
Oh, that's a good point. Oh, maybe it doesn't. All right, maybe not as cool, but it was cool for me. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe I should have.
I do like it.
All right, damn it.
We should.
Well, of course, you're ruining it. All right, another Parker plug here. What are you doing here, Ash?
Cut this out. Tommy, cut this part out.
It's fluid. You gotta keep it real.
Appreciate you,
amazing.
Rob.
Absolute pleasure.
Love you all. Thanks so much, Maddie. Get to Austin. Let's do the thing. Paul, same thing. If you get to
I
Austin,
got you.
and Ash,
Let me know
how
when
have
it
you
cools
not
down.
been here? Yeah, we're doing the
Coming, man.
Whaleys. The Whaleys got moved to January. You have to come out for that. It's going to be a crazy D2C award show that we're hosting. And then we're doing some creative stuff, creative boot camp in September. So I'll ping you guys about that. Ash, you should definitely come out for that.
For sure.
And that's it. And then we're actually going to, I don't know if you guys play pickleball. We're going to be hosting a pickleball tournament in October, which is even crazier. You know, we do all the things.
Y'all look
Crazy. We
man.
gotta keep the people
Right,
happy.
man.
You gotta build that community, baby.
That's water.
That's it.
What are y'all drinking over there?
That's that word of mouth. We every day wake up, pour a little group shot in my drink, and let's go, kids. Amazing.
Hey, Rob, I
Hit
got
me.
one last thing. You know, you inspired me with D2C After Dark. I was telling Maddie we should name our newsletter "What That Word of Mouth Do."
Ooh.
Amazing.
What do you
feel
think?
it.
You like?
I don't hate it.
Man.
I don't hate
I
it.
don't hate it. I don't hate it. Oh my gosh, you guys are great. This is such a fun one. Maddie, Paul, thanks so much, guys. Ash, it's always a pleasure. And that's it, folks. 21, I think Ash reminded me. So happy 20th. I forgot to text you back. I'm sorry. I've been so terrible about text backs with that 20th congrats text, really.
Congrats,
it hit us in the feels.
Congrats.
So 21's in the books. Thanks so much. Go to Groupshop and get you some awesome word of mouth. Get more out of your customers. Go check out Parker. They're not even paying me, but we love Ash and we love Parker, and hopefully they'll sponsor some stuff. All right, folks, that's it. 21 in the books. Thanks again, guys.